All right, hello all. Today we're going to talk about another way to solve a quadratic. So far we have factoring, square rooting both sides. Now today we're going to talk about completing the square. Now this is another way to solve, but more importantly we're going to use it to adjust the form of the equation. And this is going to be with us the rest of the year. This is one of those skills that we're going to need, especially next chapter. All right, next chapter we're going to have to complete the square over and over and over again. So to start, we start with simple quadratic. X squared plus 6x minus 7 equals 0. Now, our first step that we're going to have to do is we're going to want our variables on the left and our constants on the right. All right, so we want our variables on the left, constants on the right. Now, please take detailed notes here. We're going to have 2 days of notes. Today's kind of going to lay out the groundwork and what you need to do, and then tomorrow I'm going to bring the noise. All right, so then we have x squared plus 6x, so I'm going to add 7 to both sides, equals 7. Now, I like to leave this space here. Now, in tomorrow night's video, we're going to have step 2. All right, but we're not ready for that yet. So, going to step 3. Okay. Step 3 is we're going to take our x term, which is our second term, all right, and we got to divide it by 2 and square it. All right, so divide by 2 and square it. So what do I mean by that? So we take our middle term, which is our 6. So I'm going to take 6 and cut it in half. So that's going to be 3, and I'm going to square it to get 9. Now, what we do with this is I'm just going to rewrite what we had to start with. And now that we have that number, I'm going to add 9 to here and to here. So I'm going to add 9 to both sides. All right, so let's make note of that. So let's say add, we'll call it step 4. Add to both sides. All right. Now what we're left with an equation x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 16. All right. Now, if I told you to use complete the square to solve, in this last step, step 5, we factor and solve. Now I'm going to put ... because later on in the video we're going to add to that. All right, so now we're going to factor the left side, and by doing this process here, what always occurs is that we're left with a perfect square here, which is 9, which allows us to go x plus 3, x plus 3. So we had two numbers that multiply to 9 and add to 6, equals 16. Now we can rewrite this as one term, so x plus 3 squared equals 16. This is why it's called completing the square, because we've made it a square. All right, now from there, all we do is solve. So square root both sides. So I get x plus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of 16, which is 4. And then I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. And remember, in our standard form, our constant comes negative 3 plus or minus 4. So my two solutions are negative 3 plus 4 and negative 3 minus 4. So I get 1 and negative 7. All right, not so bad. So it's just another method to solve a quadratic. Let's try another one. Trust me, you're going to get the hang of it. It might seem like a lot at first, but this process is going to happen over and over again. So example number 2. X squared minus 10x plus 18 equals 0. So recall step 1. Okay, variables on one side, constants on the other. So x squared minus 10x equals negative 18. I like to leave a little space. Step 2, we take my middle term. Negative 10 divided by 2 is 5 squared, gives me 25. Now, I didn't take the negative down because no matter what, we square it here. So even if it is negative, this number is always going to come out positive. So now we're going to add 25 to both sides. So I have x squared minus 10x plus 25 equals negative 18 plus 25. So I have x squared minus 10x plus 25 equals 7. Now let's factor and solve. So factor the left side. Two numbers that multiply to positive 25, and add to negative 10 gives me x minus 5, x minus 5. Again, we're creating a squared term, so these should always match after you complete this process. So x minus 5 squared equals 7. Square root both sides. X minus 5 equals plus or minus square root of 7. Add 5. X equals 5 plus or minus the square root of 7. Now, if I ask for an exact answer, we're just going to leave it like that. Okay, you could go 5 plus the square root of 7 and 5 minus the square root of 7. If I ask you to round, type it in the calculator, give me two solutions. But if I say exact answer, bam, we're done. All right, so that's how we use completing the square to solve. Now, let's recall our two forms. All right, we have standard form. So standard form of a quadratic is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And then we have vertex form. Vertex form, which is y equals a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. So we're already familiar with those. Now, whoa, I dropped my pen, excuse me. One awesome thing about completing the square is we can take something in standard form and we can use this process to write it in vertex form. All right, so this is what we have. Now, what you do is you drop the y and add a 0. So x squared plus 6x, and I'm going to move my 11 to the other side. So I substituted the y for 0, so kind of like this. And then I moved 11 to the other side. I just moved my equal sign over here because I'm used to going left to right, so it's a little easier. So split your middle term, cut it in half, which is 6 divided by 2, 3 squared gives me 9. So I'm going to add 9 to both sides. So x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals negative 11 plus 9 gives me negative 2. So as we get more accustomed to this, we're going to skip a lot of steps. We're going to be able to do it quick like. That was a weak snap. There we go. Alright, so we have x plus 3 times x plus 3 when we factor the left side equals negative 2. So I have x plus 3 squared equals negative 2. Now to put it in vertex or graphing form, what I'm going to do is whatever I did up here, I'm going to revert back. So I'm going to move my 2 over, so I'm going to add 2 and put a y equals. So y equals x plus 3 squared, and I add 2 to both sides. So I added 2, and then put y back in for my 0, which I switched out in the beginning. And now I'm in vertex form and can pull out all my necessary information. So when I said dot 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 up above, we're going to come back to that. So step 5, all the way at the beginning, we could either factor and solve or write in vertex form. Now that would all depend on the directions. If I say use completing the square to solve, that's what we do. If I say use it to write in vertex form, that's what we do. Alright, so again, tomorrow, be ready. Video number 2 on the same topic, but I'm bringing the noise. Y'all be ready for number 2 then. Alright, see you tomorrow.